Hey everyone, this is James. It's March 16th, 8:45 p.m. and this is the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. This is BTC USDT on the Binance exchange. So if you want to follow along, that's where the numbers are coming from. Basically, I want to go over a couple things first. First of all, this is not investment advice. Second of all, I like to go over the trend for any new viewers. We can see that we've obviously been in a downtrend. We've used that downtrend as a springboard to try to break out. However, we are now in a new downtrend. So I'll go over the different line sets and explain what each one of them are. Right now, the gray one is the old downtrend line set, the frequency that price was sticking to. And you can see, that how we broke out right here in this zone. Let me zoom in real quick. And then that way we can see exactly what's going on. So this is the old line set, the gray one. That's why it's grayed out. Right now we have the new one that is the red line set. It is the negative price frequency that price has been adhering to. You can see the oscillation around it, and we are right on it as we speak. So the orange line set was a previous buyer that is now a resistance point, as you can see right here. I'll zoom in and kind of go over that. The blue line is where I thought another buyer would step in. They did. Price reversed right at that point, where you can see the green line set. The green line set is a positive line set, a positive slope for price. As long as price can hold this zone, it'll move at a positive frequency outside of the negative line set. So I'll have to explain that as we get in a little deeper. The 6,000, the dark red, is the former bottom. If we blow that out, it is not going to be good. Now, also, too, let me zoom out real quick one more time, and then that way we can look at this. So here we are, and this is what we see. We see lower highs, right? And this is let me retrace that. Sorry, I got a little crazy there. Okay, so here we are, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And I'm wondering if we are going to continue that to the downside. All right, I talked about a rally to about 8,500. That's exactly where we got to. I think we may push just a little bit higher, and that's why I have this 8,700 zone marked out right here on the chart. I'll kind of explain that right now as I zoom in. Hang on real quick. Let me just delete that. That way we don't have this giant number staring at us. Okay. So in order to maintain the green positive slope, what we're going to have to do is hold above the 8,700 level roughly. Or I mean, not 8,700, I mean 7,700 right here. As long as we can hold this zone and not break below it, price will continue moving upward. However, you can see what price is reacting to, and that is the negative downslope. So I talked about the rally to about 8,500. That's exactly where we got to today, and then we got horribly rejected from it. Now we're right on this red line as I zoom in. Let me just keep zooming in real quick, so I know a lot of people are watching this on their phones. Right here. If we can hold this zone, we may have one more run to push a little higher, okay, to this 8,700 level. So like I said, this is not investment advice, because this is an area where I think price will get rejected once more, and then we will form another down leg. In the same time that we do that, what we are doing is forming what is known as a bear flag, as you can see like this. Every time Bitcoin has formed one of these uptrend coils, right, that people call bear flags, it immediately drops out, and it drops out horrible with a large amount of force. So if we do that, and you can kind of see this right here, let me trace this one out. This is the former one that I talked about. If we broke, it was going to have a lot of negative energy to the downside, and that is exactly what happened. We broke that. We moved to the downside. We're trying to regain that area. That's why I think we may push just a little bit higher to about the 8,700 level and then roll over from there. Once we do, I think we'll blow out this positive line set and move much deeper into the negative line set, which could bring us easily to back down to the 6,000 low. Because you can see as we move into time and space, and as I go over every single video, I say do not get hung up on the numbers, because as we move to the right, which is time and space, then those numbers are going to dramatically change. So it's talking about the mid 7,000s, and now I'm talking about as low as the 6,000 range, okay? So what is going to negate that downfall would be a break of the 87, 8,800 level, and then a continuation upward to the break of about 9,500 roughly. 95, 9,400. It just depends on how fast we move to that level. If we can break outside of this area and maintain trading outside of this, that'll be a positive sign for Bitcoin. And yeah, you might have not called the exact bottom, but from there we should build the uptrend structure similar to how we did this. Let me just move up on the chart real quick. This is the break. This is the nice pullback. We got the little false rally. We got another pullback, and obviously you can see how it used the negative downtrend line set and it made another rally, because here's the gray line set right here. So if we can do that on this red line set, then price will move higher. I do not believe price will break above 11,700. I do not believe that. I think no matter what happens, even if it is positive, we will put in another lower high and eventually move much deeper into price, possibly in the low 7,000s to the 6,000 range. But we could have a counter trend rally possibly forming here if we break. Okay, that's the positive side. Unfortunately, I don't see that really happening. I do not see this line breaking at all. The most I see price going is about 8,800, and then from there rolling over, especially if we do this on the weekend. If we do this on the weekend, that's going to be even more brutal, because typically the price movement over the weekend gets reversed or at least almost retraced. So let's just say like maybe a 75% retracement of the price activity. So if we do run here, we could possibly have another run back down and then maybe a run out. So we'll see what happens. And that's why I try to do these videos on a daily basis. I'm not going to be able to do tomorrow morning's video because I'm going to be extremely busy tomorrow morning with work. But I just wanted to give this video, I just wanted to make it real brief, just straight to the point. Those are the figures to watch. If we cannot break out and we do break down overnight, if we continue more downside overnight into the weekend, I'm telling you, this is going to be brutal. I do think we'll bust out this green line set unless we magically get a bounce. If we do get a bounce from about the 7,700 level, that'll be a positive sign that we could form a positive uptrend, actually break out this red line set. However, that could happen sometime midday tomorrow to tomorrow evening. So obviously I would have the video then too explaining that, but that's the positive side. If we, like I said, if we bust this out, we are going to head down, and we're going to head down more than likely in a brutal nature, especially if we form another bear flag, okay? I call them coils, people call them bear flags, but what I can tell you is when the coil forms to the upside, especially in Bitcoin, okay, it is a negative sign for price. And obviously we can see that there's been a lack of volume. We can see that the sellers are dominating. Every time there's a run, you can see just the dumping of Bitcoins into every single rally. And that is why when you look at the bigger picture, okay, even when we look just right here, you can see this is the high, the failure to break that high, and then look at the brutality of that failure, okay? And then since then, we've done nothing but just continuously drop after drop after drop. When we came out of the 6,000 bottom, we based and we rose. And the same thing, even when we had the nice correction, we still based. But look at this, look at how price based out. Price based out downward, okay? Again, price based out downward and then continued to move up. Every time price is based out upward, like so, you can see what happens. So this is why I am not bullish about price right here. Even though it may make another run to about the 8,700, 8,800 level, it still does not look good. Now, as I go back in time, you can kind of see this as well too. Again, this is a reoccurring theme. You can see, let me just knock out the top there. That way we can just knock out the clutter. You can see exactly what happened there. You can see the formation here. And then I could just keep going up, you know. But you can see as price bases upward, this is downward, and you can see what happened. Okay, this is another downward base that is very extreme. There's a lot of volatility here. That's why it looks so crazy. Another downward base. So you can see as I'm tracing these out, you can visually see what I'm trying to say. That is why my logical assumption is that even if we go to 8,700, 8,800, it's still not going to be a positive sign. Now, we may even peak above this line. This is just me putting a line out there to see how price reacts to it. But I'm telling you that if we do base like this, and even if we pull back and we continue like this, then what am I obviously drawing? Let me trace it out. That's what I'm drawing. So right now, to me, there is more downside risk than there is upside risk. It would be completely different had we formed something like this, but we have not yet. So I am not bullish at all on price. Yes, I do think there's going to be some wiggles that might be able to be traded. But this video is not investment advice, and I'm not going to go into that in this video at all, because those require special circumstances. That's something I talk to my subscribers about. But anyways, basically right now, in a nutshell, everything looks negative. You can see how price is reacting to the negative down sloping trend. And that is me tracing it out right here in this red line. Let me make it blue so that way it kind of stands out. That is exactly what we are seeing. We are seeing a movement downward. Now, yes, we may have a little pop, and we could have a little counter trend rally, but no matter what, what I believe is going to happen is that we're going to base out what I called a sucker's rally to the 8,500 zone. You can obviously see what happened there. It got dumped into. Okay, and I talked about that if I was a big trader, that's exactly what I would do. Every single time it got low, I would make a buy order, right? I would just take a small percentage of my portfolio, right? If you have $100 million, you take $10 million, you put a $10 million buy in. What do you think that's going to do to this market, especially in a shallow time when they do it overnight to the early mornings in the United States? So anywhere from like 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The market gets a little wild, but then really the big turnarounds come about 4 to 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when the market's just waking up. And I really think that honestly the biggest players in this market are the Asian market. And I think that the Asian market, from whether it's China, Japan, Korea, I'm just kind of lumping everybody into a whole here, but basically those countries, I believe the viability of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies rely on those primarily as of right now. You can obviously see the integration into Japan. So I think right now that is where the future revolves around those countries and how they interact with Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies as well. But Bitcoin is the giant in the industry. Bitcoin is the one that determines the overall price direction for these alternate coins. There's about 1,500 of them, so I think a lot of them need to be stomped out, and I think slowly they're going to be stomped out, and you can see that in the way that they're reacting as well. But that's why I primarily focus on Bitcoin, is because of that. So enough of me rambling on, but that's just the overall bigger picture of the market of what I see. I see a lot of the overnight market dominating price movement, and a lot of it are wild swings, okay? And another thing too that has me has another red flag up is this little V bottom right here, okay? This is like we're trying to build a foundation on one stilt, as you see. So you can see like a double, almost like a vertical double bottom there. You can see how we had a lot of clumping here before we took off. There's literally almost no clumping down here. There's a little bit right here for a wedge with a tiny pop that immediately got sold off. That's not a positive sign. You can see what happened. We clumped out, moved up, continuously moved up, small minor pullback, which is natural, and then continued moving higher. So even at the 6,000 bottom, which does look like a V bottom, you can at least see an exact double bottom on 2 4-hour bars. Right here, the only thing that we have holding up is one single 4-hour bar right here. And that to me is a red flag that price may continue running, but at some point it is going to retrace. And if it retraces and still oscillates in this zone, like I said, then we have a bear flag. So I'm not going to do a video tomorrow morning because I'm honestly not expecting too much to happen, and I'm extremely busy. I have to be out of the house very early tomorrow, so I won't have the time to make the video, upload them, and etc. But that's pretty much the overall the overall like picture of what I see occurring in Bitcoin as of right now. So I gave everybody the price numbers. You have all the prices. If you forgot them, just go back to the video. That way I don't have to reiterate everything to make it even longer. But I'm just not bullish at all on this price action right here, especially since we are doing this upward formation right here. So we'll see how it pans out. Like I said, I'm expecting maybe one more rally to push higher to give the false breakout over this. There's a lot of false breakouts in this industry. So as we break out to this zone, that's kind of where I'm imagining price rolling back over even deeper and probably more brutal in nature, because as we base that out, we typically will go 2 to 3 to 4 times the distance. I think we could easily double the range. If we do, that is going to put us far down into this range and possibly into the high 6s where we could have a turnaround, create a higher low. If we do beeline it to the 6,000 bottom, I'm telling you it's not going to be a positive sign. I highly doubt we'll have a double bottom. We might have a bounce there, but I think that bounce would lead to a break through the 6,000 bottom, creating a lower low, which would obviously be a huge negative picture for Bitcoin, and especially on a market that's just this young and this early. So we'll see what happens. I've noticed that the fund, like GBTC, is the fund that follows Bitcoin, that trades on the over the market exchange, or over the counter exchange, I mean. And that fund has really not seen a lot of volume since then. It's kind of been lagging behind price, and it just shows me that there's not a lot of conviction, especially when you're going into a weekend. You know that stuff can get crazy over the weekend, but we'll see how it pans out. My next video will be tomorrow evening. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter account is posted down below in the video. It's at JDMarshall33. That's just my personal Twitter account. But anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. I'll try to get back to you. I'm just extremely busy right now, especially at this time of the year. And then also, if you do enjoy the content, like, subscribe, follow, share the content as well. That helps me out as well. But other than that, I hope everybody has a great day. Everybody has a great night, depending on where you are in the world, or I guess great morning. But I'll do another video tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I think best we make a run to the 8,700, 8,800 zone and then roll over from there. If we roll over from here, though, where we're currently at, it's going to be brutal for price. I do not think we'll catch this green line. I think we might have a little bounce from there, but then ultimately make our way lower.